Hello, my Archeage friends. This is Arid. In-game name is September on the Thunderwing as well as the public test server. In this video, what we're going to cover is the official information about 4.5 for North America and EU, as well as the new Fresh Start server. So if you haven't seen it yet, this just came out not too long ago. Tryon just dropped a massive amount of data via a press release with our friends over at massivelyop.com. This article basically details everything I'm going to talk about in this video, so if you're one that would just rather read it, you can head over there and I'll put a link in the description. Well, if you stuck around, let me just go ahead and talk about the information as I read it. The two big news things that was in this data release or press release is that 4.5 release date was officially announced, and that is April 5th. Wow, so soon. As well as the Fresh Start servers are confirmed with 4.5. So, Fresh Start servers coming out with 4.5. Alright, so let's take each one of those subjects, Fresh Start and 4.5, and expand on the current info that we currently have. So first up is the release date of April 5th. This one actually caught me off guard, as I wasn't even expecting this until late in April at the earliest. What's more is, as one of the few active Tryon Archeage creators left, we actually have a little bit more access to Muzzy and Moby than most, and they have been completely silent about all this. Not so much as a whiff of any info about Fresh Start or 4.5. So, really good job for them on keeping it on the DL, and this surprise worked out really great for them. Also, I'd like to mention that we haven't seen any info of this new content on a live stream, which is something that they typically like to dole out even like a month ahead of time, and because we're only a few weeks away, they did a really good job on throwing us off on when this will be coming out. Also, with 4.5 coming out early next month, that means it is about time for this stuff to get onto the public test server, so that's got to be close. So they typically try for a 2-week test period, which would put this to launch or be open for testing on the public test server around the 22nd. Which is just a week away from this video recording. Now, that has not been officially announced. That is pure speculation on the date on the PTS. And of course, once it does hit the PTS, you can bet that I'll be getting that info and testing done as soon as possible, so you can all stay tuned for that. There is a lot more info put out already on 4.5 on omnom.io, as well as the previous video I did here on YouTube covering that. So if you're interested in exactly what the big deal is about 4.5, please take a moment to recheck that info. I will post a link to my video on this subject, as well as a link to Omnom, so you guys can check that out. There's a lot to cover. So let's just move on to the Fresh Start server, as it is probably the most interesting stuff here in this information release. Okay, Fresh Start server, what is it going to be like and when is it going to happen? Well, it looks like 4.5 is going to launch with these Fresh Start servers, which means the Fresh Start servers will be April 5th as well. There has been actually a lot of feedback over the years of what Tryon has done wrong with the Fresh Start servers and what they could do right in the future. And since this is actually their third Fresh Start server attempts, let's hope that they found a formula that works. But what you really need to know is that the Fresh Start server is going to be just like it was in Korea with their classic server, which, if you're not privy to that info, it's basically a server in which gear levels are capped for a period of time, and as well as the cash shop being very limited. What's going to happen is they'll slowly open up lands and levels and add new items to the cash shop as the time rolls on. The idea with this is to put hard caps in place, which will ideally prevent somebody or groups of people from getting way too powerful way too quickly. They usually do this by spending a truckload of money or making 1,000 alt accounts. The details that we have on the Fresh Start server sounds like Tryon is really making a very good effort here in addressing some of that problem, but we'll talk more about the alt accounts here in just a moment. Okay, so here is what we know about the Fresh Start servers coming out in 4.5. So as you can see, here's a slide. At launch, you're going to be required to make a new account. So if you have an existing Archeage account, that's not going to help you. You have to make a new one. That's what they did last time, so that shouldn't be new to you. This one is new, 1 character per server / account. Now, what I do not know is if that means 1 character, you can only have 1 character per account, and that applies to both the North America and the EU regions. Meaning if you make a character on North America, you can't make one on EU. I hope that's what it means, because right now there is it's not a hack or it's what's the best word for it? It's kind of a cheesy way to get free stuff by making characters both on the North America and EU regions. You log them in, you get the loyalty, you sell the loyalty, you buy the Apex, yada yada yada. Free to play, yes, they are confirmed to be free to play Fresh Start servers. More on that in a minute. The max level for the first few months, it appears to be level 50. The highest craftable or equipable gear will be Magnificent, which is pretty low on the totem pole. They also mentioned that Greater Dungeons will be active, so yeah, Greater Dungeons is going to be the gear that people are going to go for. So on these Fresh Start servers, doing dungeons is going to be a thing. The races, the Dwarf and Warborn, this has already been confirmed in a live stream. They will not be available on the Fresh Start servers initially. The reason being for that is the Dwarf and the Warborn do level at a accelerated rate. Also, the zones for the Dwarf and the Warborn, Anmar, Rokala, those zones will be off limits. They'll have barriers, this article says, preventing access to those areas, which means no land claiming, at least initially. The Aurora zones, this was unclear in the article, but they did say that Diamond Shores and Miss Morrow will be open. They also said that the castles could not be claimable initially. So it looks like Aurora will be open, which is kind of good because there's good XP to be had there once you get to that level, you know, the high 40s. Then, you know, Diamond Shores, Miss Morrow is going to be open. I don't know about Reedwind. I don't know about all the other zones that are out there. Sounds like they're going to be open. It's just you can't get to the castles. Also, it wasn't on this list, but I should have put it there. The world boss spawns like the Red Dragon and Kraken, this article does detail that they are going to be spawning. Not quite sure how you're going to be able to take them down with magnificent gear, but you know, they're going to be there, so if you want a challenge, that's going to be there. Well, that's the info about the Fresh Start servers, but I do want to say a little bit about it. I want to say on paper this sounds like so far their best attempt at a Fresh Start yet. By all the info that I have seen thus far, it looks like this is actually going to require a separate client or a separate version of the game, which is actually really good news for those who still play on classic servers. So what I mean by that is by having a different version of the game running, the Fresh Start servers will allow like the login rewards and the events to give useful rewards to those that are on Fresh Start, but also different rewards to those that are on the classic server, so you won't have to worry about the Fresh Start affecting the classic servers or vice versa, and that's actually a good thing. Now, this is not confirmed that they're going to have a different client or version. It just seems like, based on what we know from the past with XL, that yeah, they're going to have to code a different version and deliver that to Tryon. Also, I really like the limits that they talked about with the marketplace, but they didn't really go into some exact info on what it's going to look like, so I'm not going to really talk much more about that. They've done it in the past with the last fresh starts. They limit the marketplace, namely the regrade charms and things like that. So we'll see what they do in this case. So it looks like, honestly, it looks like if you're a new or you're a returning player, the fresh start does appear to have a lot of things going right, on paper at least, and I have to give Tryon and XL a lot of credit for getting to this point. My one concern, and I'm sure others have already gotten there in their minds, is this alt account issue. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me expand on that. So in Archeage, the game is really designed around a labor pool. So much so that you can simply look at this like E equals MC squared, or labor equals gold. The more labor you have, the more gold you can earn. That's just the way it is. So by allowing free-to-play accounts in conjunction with the North America EU requirement of only needing an email to set up an account, it's quite easy for somebody to set up many accounts, log them all in, and start gaining labor freely. This has two problems. One, it gives that person access to more labor than what was really intended for them to have, and while they have all these accounts logged in, they're basically funneling all the resources and gold that they're generating to one main account. And the second problem for this is it allows them to take up room on the server, and you know, there's queues, like there's login queues, so people have problems logging in. Meanwhile, this jackass has got 20 accounts logged in, and you know, you're just trying to log in and play. So if I could change one thing, the first thing that the one thing that I would do is require this new fresh start to be patron only. That would actually prevent the problem of these free-to-play accounts staying logged in, hogging up the space on the server, and gaining labor for free. Because as a patron, you wouldn't need to be logged in. You could gain labor offline. It would also actually put names to each account, because you have to, you know, pay for it with some kind of payment method, and that would make it easier to track any early bad actors. So there you go. 4.5 will be coming out April 5th. Fresh start servers confirmed, and it's going to be in the same classic style that seems to be working, or at least initially was working, for XL in Korea. This also means that testing should start soon on the public test server, and I will personally be getting out a lot more information for those that are going to be sticking around for the legacy servers. So I'll get all that information and testing done for you guys very soon. I hope you all have found this video both helpful and informative. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, as well as Discord. All those links will be in the video description. Make sure that you like and subscribe on your way out, and for those of you who want to kick up your support, please consider becoming a Patreon for as little as $1. Until next time, this is September saying, be well.